What's going on, everybody? Nick Luttrell here with another episode of Luttie's Look Back. We've got a fun, full show with lots of baseball and a little bit of softball to get to. We'll also talk about the transfer portal, give you an update with the Razorback men's basketball team coming up at the end of the show. But right now, we'll start my show how we always do with my three big things after Arkansas's series loss to number 7 Georgia on Friday, a 13-3 loss. Then Saturday and Sundays, both of those games were a loss of 7-6. So real close games for Arkansas. We'll talk about it a little bit overall, but the three big things: one, the bad starts, they need to be fixed. The second big thing, clutch hitting, it doesn't need fixing. The clutch hitting is there, and we'll talk about that in a second. And my big point number 3, they'll probably be no longer the number 1 team in the country. That's just fine, and I'll explain my reasoning in a bit. We'll go back up to the top. The first of my 3 big things is the bad starts, and they got to be fixed, right? If you watch these games, you saw how every time in all 3 games, Georgia started up big, and they dominated Arkansas in the first few innings. And I don't know if it just takes a little bit for those pitchers to get going, for the hitting to get going, but you saw it affected the rest of the game, obviously. When you start down 3-1, even just that small margin, that's going to come back to bite you. So looking at it, Friday they started down 3-0. They ended up winning that game by like 10 runs, so that didn't matter as much. Saturday's game, they were down 5-2 after the second inning. And then Sunday's game, they were down 4-1 after the third inning. So they have these margins where they're down by multiple runs heading into the last few innings of the game, and then they somehow turned around. And you know what we saw in Friday's game, they turned it around and fixed it. And Saturday and Sunday's game, they turned it around and fixed it, but not enough for a W to be shown on the scoreboard at the end of the day. They lost both of those games. They won the first one, lost the second one. And the start to the games need to be better for this Razorback baseball team. It kind of leads into my second point, which is the clutch hitting doesn't need fixing. They've played really well down the stretch. Bad starts, pretty good finishes. And yes, I know that they lost the final 2 games of the series, but if you watched it, you know that they played, or if you didn't watch it, it's just fine. That's probably why you're watching me. They didn't play so well at the beginning, and they played a lot better at the end. Sometimes good enough to get the win, other times not so much. Let's go back to the Friday game. They started down, and they scored 10 runs in the last 3 innings. Saturday's game, they scored 3 runs in the last 2 innings. Sunday's game, 3 runs in what would have been the last 3 innings if it wouldn't have gone to extra innings. Arkansas lost in the 12th inning. They were down to their final out yesterday in yesterday's game against the Bulldogs. And then Vaheva Aloy smashes a home run, went like 450 feet. He can hit the ball far. That gets into a whole nother discussion. But Vaheva Aloy and the Aloy brothers can hit the ball far. I feel like they either get RBIs or a home run, or they strike out. They've kind of had a lot of strikeouts recently. They're not quite as hot as they were to begin the season, especially Kohio Aloy. That worries me a little bit, like maybe it was just a month or 2 where he was really, really good and now he's kind of average. I don't know. I didn't watch a ton of Saturday's game. I was out, took a PTO day on Saturday. I watched a good amount of Fridays and then pretty much all of Sunday's game. And you saw it. You saw it. There was clutch hitting with this Razorback baseball team down the stretch. That doesn't need fixing, but you want to be able to clean up how Arkansas starts these games. My last and final point is, okay, they're no longer the number 1 team in the country. That's just fine. That's just fine. You don't want the pressure of being the number 1 team in the country. You don't want it. And I think a lot of fans out there probably agree with me. The number 1 team, it's just a curse. It's a curse in college baseball. It seems like it's something that seems like it's a curse in every sport. And maybe that's my fandom coming out a little bit. That's saying, you know, they're the number 1 team in the country. Everyone's looking at them. There's a lot of pressure behind that. They get a little confidence. They get, a little bit too confident. They get their ego going. They get cocky. That's when confidence turns to cockiness. When you have a really good team that's really good, has won a bunch of games, has swept a bunch of series, that's coming off a series against Missouri where they scored like 50 runs in 17 innings, you get a little cocky. And then you have a team like Georgia that comes your way and says, all right, we're pretty good too. And they won the series, and Georgia won the series over the Hawks. So they're no longer the number 1 team in the country, and that's okay. the number one team in the country, most likely when the polls come out today, will be the Texas Longhorns. They won 2 out of the 3 this past weekend. They should be the number one team in the country. And I'm okay with that. Because guess what? In a few weeks, Arkansas is going to host the Texas Longhorns. And you know as well as I do, most likely, it's not the rivalry that it is with football, maybe not even basketball, but it is a little bit of, it's always a rivalry when Arkansas plays Texas. And I know we're already talking about it, but assuming Arkansas continues to trend in the right direction, I know they just lost this series, but the season's not over. Trust me, the season's not over. Trust me when I say that. It's just one series, so don't be going crazy out there on Twitter. The season is not over. But Arkansas is going to have a chance to prove themselves. They got Texas A&M this upcoming weekend. They got another series after that, which I'm forgetting off the top of my head right now, maybe LSU. And I think the one after that is this Texas team. That should be the number one team in the country. So give Texas the number one team in the country. Let them have a bunch of arrogance coming into Baum-Walker Stadium. And then let's watch the Razorbacks sweep them. How great would that be? I'm okay with that. If Arkansas is number 6 in the country, they've lost a game here or there before the Texas game, and then they come out and sweep the Longhorns, I'm just fine with that. So those are my 3 big things from Arkansas's series loss to Georgia over the weekend. Specifically talking about this game on Sunday, the 1-run loss, 12 innings. You know, Arkansas didn't start well. They had a couple home runs in the 9th inning that pushed them into the extra innings. They scored a run in the 11th, and then Georgia came back and scored a run to tie it up, and then they hit a home run to walk it off. And so that was a little bit of a frustrating game, but a little bit of my thoughts. Let's hear from head coach Dave Van Horn and what he had to say after that game on Sunday.
You know, we didn't play good at all today, in my opinion, and win or lose, I was going to tell the team that I felt that way. I just don't think we played very well. I thought our at-bats were not as good as normal. I mean, the middle of the lineup didn't do much. You know, I think, you know, Cam might have got a double, but 3, 4, 5, and 6 maybe got like 1 hit and maybe hit 1 other ball hard. I don't know. It wasn't very many. And, you know, that was disappointing, but we did, you know, again, fight back, tie the game with 1 out to go. And it was pretty exciting there for a couple innings. And so it ended up being a tough loss because we had it. We're within 1 out. They felt the same way probably in the 9th that they had it, and then we hit a home run and tie that thing up. But you know, I think we learned a lesson a little bit. It's not over till it's over, and you know, hopefully we'll be a little better going forward.
I do want to talk about a little bit of the pitching before we move on to Arkansas softball. I talked a little bit about the hitting and how the Aloy brothers have been playing really well. Maybe didn't have the best series, especially the best, at least for Sunday, the best game on Sunday. Kohio Aloy was probably the go-to guy on Friday and Saturday, but didn't play to his potential. He didn't have a hit on Sunday, which definitely affected the Razorbacks. But that's some of the hitting. I do want to talk about the pitching because it's just a little bit more concise and organized to talk about, okay, here's the starting pitchers, here's what it looks like going forward. Because at this point in the season, we know Arkansas can hit the ball. And maybe they didn't show it to their fullest potential in that game on Sunday. They showed it on Friday. Maybe they didn't show it in some of those other games. Because, I mean, even in their big win on Friday, Georgia had 2 errors. In their game on Sunday, even they lost, but they scored 6 runs. Georgia had 5 errors. So Georgia's not a good fielding team. I was impressed that they could pitch as well as they could. We knew they could hit the ball pretty well. But Arkansas pitching, not starts, but I think if there's an MVP from the weekend as far as pitching goes, is Aiden Jimenez. And this is a guy who had Tommy John surgery about a year ago, transferring to the Razorbacks, and now he's probably one of the hottest pitchers in the Razorback lineup right now. So it's good to see that he's healthy, good to see that he's pitching well. Friday he pitched 2 1/3 inning, no hits, 2 strikeouts. Came back Sunday, another 2 2/3 innings pitched, 2 strikeouts. I think gave up 1 hit, maybe 1 or 2 hits, hit a guy. So there's some issues there, but he pitched really well this weekend. And I want to talk about Gabe Gackle because I always want to talk about Gabe Gackle because I feel like we talk about him every week, and it's necessary to talk about. because we thought he was going to be the star coming into the season, the go-to guy, and he just hasn't been that guy. And continually we've seen him not live up to the hype, especially starting games. He started games always pretty rough, and then he recovers. In this game on Saturday, in his start, he didn't. He only pitched 2 innings, 6 hits, 5 runs, only struck out 2. Not ideal. So and I know Dave Van Horn said this on his, I think on his radio show before the game Sunday or after the game Saturday, that there could be some changes going forward. So keep an eye on that. We'll obviously keep you updated, whether it's on this show or on our newscasts, if there's a change with that going forward. But I would not be surprised if you try to bring Gabe Gackel out of the bullpen. Maybe start Aiden Jimenez because he's been playing so well right now. Maybe. And then quick injury update, Gage Wood, he's still been out. He's been out since February. No, March, into February. Hopefully he should be back in the next few weeks is what it sounds like. Nolan Souza got hurt this weekend. I don't think he's going to be back anytime soon. And I think Parker Coyle is another reliever that was one of the hottest pitchers in the lineup, right around there with Aiden Jimenez. He also got hurt. So got to keep an eye on those injuries, but no need to freak out. This Razorback baseball team is playing good. Another team that is playing even better right now probably is the softball Razorbacks. Just like the baseball team, they had a couple of close call games over the weekend. They came out with the series win in a top 10 matchup, just like the Razorbacks. It was funny how some of these games looked similar. The softball and baseball, watching them at the same time yesterday, it was like they're kind of similar. Like Arkansas softball was down a few runs, and they came back, tied it, ended up winning it in the 7th inning. Obviously, baseball didn't, but a series win against a top 10 team at home. The softball team just continues to trend in the right direction, continues to get better after the shaky start to SEC play. And they're a top 10 team. They're a team that is, we've seen it these past few seasons. They're a team that is maybe good enough to be in Oklahoma City, to be in the College World Series. I think they have that potential. Beyond that, probably not. I don't think they have national championship potential. Not that my softball knowledge is the best, but I don't think it's that level. But I think it is to the level of a College World Series. So in this game against South Carolina, 10-2 win on Friday. They run-ruled them. They had 5 runs in the 5th inning, 6 runs in the 6th inning. So they kind of had that comeback just like the Hogs. Played really good, played good in clutch moments. Saturday lost 5-4. Sunday won 5-4. Robin Heron was great. I mean, she's always really good. She's the ace for this Razorback softball team. Started Friday and Sunday's games, pitched really well. Friday was she pitched really well. Sunday maybe not as good, but still some good outings from her. Friday, 6 innings pitched, only gave up 2 hits, complete game. Sunday, 7 innings pitched, 7 hits. So a hit per inning. That's not bad at all. But 2 hits in 6 innings pitched on Friday, that's really good. So if Robin Heron can be like that every game, Arkansas's in good shape. So they got some good players. They're trending in the right direction, which is fun to see, because this is a softball team that continues to get better. So here's what Coach Deifel, head coach Courtney Deifel, had to say after the series win over South Carolina.
Yeah, it was just kind of a weird series, just a battle, just a fight. We knew it would be. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it looks like. You just have to figure out a way to win. And that's what today was. It was a toughness battle. It was a find a way to win. Who cares? Just keep grinding. And obviously, it's exactly how we drew it up. The line drive back at our pitcher's face to double off the runner at first. That's the sign I called in. But I can't express how proud I am of this team, because at this time of year and the rest of the way, it doesn't matter what it looks like. You just keep fighting and find a way and refuse to lose. And that's what they did today.
All right, as I mentioned, like the way the softball team is trending in the right direction right now, a lot of our other local baseball and softball teams are also trending in the right direction. I think all of them this weekend, which this might be the first time this has ever happened. I guess Arkansas baseball lost, but this might be the first time it's ever happened where a lot of our teams won their baseball or softball series this weekend. So we'll start for UCA on the baseball side. They won 2 out of the 3 games against Bellarmine. I think it's Bellarmine. whatever. So UCA baseball, a nice win there. So that was good. UCA softball, kind of as expected, also took down Bellarmine 2-1. I think that was a home series against Bellarmine. So good for UCA for continuing to do well. Little Rock baseball, they swept Morehead State on the road. To be expected, Morehead State's not very good in baseball. Little Rock has had a plethora of injuries, but it's good to see them obviously get that sweep for the season and look decent in the OVC. I know they had some rough series here or there to begin the year, but hopefully they're also trending in the right direction. Arkansas State series win over South Alabama. UAPB, how about the sweep over Texas Southern? That was probably the most impressive out of all these other baseball and softball teams besides the Razorbacks. I think UAPB baseball might have impressed me the most. A sweep over Texas Southern. And UAPB baseball recently they've not been very good. Non-conference play, they weren't good at all. And now conference play, they're 6-6 overall. Of course, up next they have the Razorbacks, so we'll see what happens with that. But they swept Texas Southern. Texas Southern was a team that I think they were a couple places above UAPB in the SWAC standings. Now they're still behind. I think UAPB is still behind them. But 3 wins over Texas Southern is pretty impressive, especially to put up the numbers that they're putting up. I think they won like 16-12 or something yesterday. It was pretty impressive. So Logan Stout's got those guys headed in the right direction. They can hit the ball really well. Pitching is certainly an issue, something that they'll have to watch out for going forward. But they can hit the ball. So there's that. There's pros and cons to this team, and they can hit the ball really well. UAPB softball, on the other hand, and I kind of just lied to you guys because I just realized UAPB softball got swept. So the Golden Lion softball, maybe not the greatest team. They got swept by Prairie View A&M. They're pretty bad right now. We'll just put it how it is. But UAPB baseball is good. So if you're a UAPB fan, you're like, oh, well, my softball team's not good. Baseball team is decent. So there you go. Those are some of the other baseball scores. The Travelers, as well, as we'll continue to monitor and keep an eye on them. Didn't have a great start to the season, but this past week had a pretty good series. I think they won 5 out of the 6 games against Tulsa. They won 5 in a row after dropping their home opener on Tuesday. They're now 6-3 overall. So again, very early on in the season, so much is moved around with minor league baseball. It's even hard for me to keep up with because they have so many games so often and their lineup is changing so much. So you're not going to hear me say, oh, this player and this player and this player and that player. Like I'll be honest, I don't have that deep of analysis yet on this Travs team. It's still pretty early on in the season. They're moving around their lineup. But to start 6-3 on the year, to get some good wins over Tulsa, some close wins, to have pitching be pretty good in a lot of those wins, that's saying something. So hopefully they continue to get some wins. So that is some baseball and softball talk from the past weekend. Let's talk about basketball now. And guys, I don't know what to say about this. Like, I fully expected. I was ready to go. I made this cool little graphic and I was like, we're going to be ready. It's going to be moving every single day. We're going to have players moving around. We're going to have people in the transfer portal. We're going to get players from the transfer portal. And this thing has barely moved. I've edited this like once a week. When we talked about this last week, there was only one change in the past week. And it was Adu Thero. He's on to the NBA draft, which many expected. By the way, he didn't technically say that if, let's say, he tests the NBA draft waters, what happens if they're like, actually, Adu, hate to tell you to you, but you're not going to get drafted. Like, you're good, but spend another year in college. And then Coach Cal's like, I'll give you $2 million. He could come back. He could still come back. I kind of am an optimist sometimes. I don't know how optimistic I am about this. We'll see how it goes. But I think the door is open just a little bit. It's cracked open where you can see like a little bit of light for Adu Thero to come back. I lean towards him saying no. Like, I do think he'll get drafted. So I don't think that'll happen. But it's different with like Boogie Fland. Boogie Fland is for sure gone onto the NBA draft. He'll definitely be a draft pick. Should be first round, might be second round. But let's go ahead and pull this up full so you can take a look at what it looks like close on your television or TV screen or iPhone, whatever you're watching it on. Those are the guys departing. Yes, there's a lot of them. Yes, that looks scary, but there's still time. Those are the guys in the middle of your screen that are returning possibly and then some incoming players as well. So obviously you have guys who are departing that have run out of eligibility that were seniors. You got the transfer portal / draft guys. Nothing really been huge there. And then those returners. That will be a big, okay, here's where our team looks like next season type of deal. There's also been, I think recently there was a little bit of a dead period with the transfer portal. So that's why it slowed down a little bit for whatever reason. But I do expect, and I know I said this the past few weeks, I do expect this time next week, or maybe by the time you're watching this video, maybe you're checking this video out on Wednesday on YouTube or THV11+. Maybe by the time this happens, there could be some movement with this. And honestly, by the time this happens next week, I do expect some movement, especially with some transfer portal additions. That incoming spot in the bottom right, I expect some guys to be in there. They're looking at Malik Ewing, who is a pretty good big man for Florida State. A couple other good players that they've contacted that's kind of being talked about that might come to Arkansas, that has them in their top 5. We'll see. That's got some transfer portal stuff. The guys who are not announced, who knows? Like surely the next few weeks. And I do think Coach Cal's focusing on retention. So with primarily those 5 guys you see right there, DJ Wagner, Carter Knox, Trevin Brazil, Billy Richmond, 4 guys, excuse me, Jared Caruletta, doesn't really matter with all due respect. Those 4 guys, I think he's focused on retention. And my guess, just the way the direction of athletics is headed now, I'm guessing they're working out basically contracts to say, all right, how much money you giving me, Cal, or whoever is. It's a whole crazy thing with NIL now. But a guy like Carter Knox, probably asking for $2 million at the least, 2 to 4. There's been some crazy numbers I've seen out there. I don't know how accurate it is, but it is really crazy. And maybe those are inaccurate, but I feel like I've seen from relatively reliable sources that could be as much as someone like Carter Knox could get paid if he wants to stick around and play for the Razorbacks. So we'll talk a lot more about that in the coming weeks, but that's what it looks like as of now, as of recording this Lutties Look Back. Speaking of Lutties Look Back, let's do a look ahead. My Lutties Look Ahead is Arkansas baseball. As you see there, I put them as the #1 team in the country. I know the poll's going to come out today, and it's going to be a different ranking. I do expect they'll be in the top 5. I'm going to guess 3 at the most, maybe 4. I don't think there'll be a lot of movement there. I can't remember if LSU ended up winning their series or not. But that's what the Razorbacks look like. They got UAPB on Tuesday night inside Baum-Walker Stadium. That game will be televised on SEC Network Plus. UAPB, Gold Lions fans out there, take a few hours trip up north to Fayetteville. It's always if you haven't been to Baum-Walker Stadium, it's a sight to see. I mean, I'm sure tickets will be a little pricey, but that'll be a fun game to go and see. And you never know. You never know what might happen. And UAPB has been playing better, coming off a sweep, got a little momentum. Arkansas just lost back-to-back. So UAPB fans, you never know. I do think Arkansas baseball will probably win by 10 at the least, unfortunately. But still going to be a close game. That's what it looks like for the Razorbacks. After this game, they will have Texas A&M, the preseason #1 team in the country, who's been playing really good as of late. They've won their 5 of their last 6. They'll have A&M on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So we will monitor that and continue to keep an eye on that. Well, that's going to do it for Lutties Look Back. Thanks so much for watching. As always, feel free to reach out on Facebook or X to contact me. Let me know if anything I can do better to help the show and make it better. It's a lot of fun for me. I'm always interested to hear what you guys think, and be sure to share this with someone if they're a big sports fan and want to check it out as well. It's always a good time. So I appreciate you guys watching Lutties Look Back. We'll see you next week.